Previously on High Scores, High Stakes.
It's just the two of us this week.
Yeah.
This is such a strange manner. We can't seem to get some coherent hosts.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Cardinal can't make it. Sherry still, I don't know, Dark Side of the Moon or somewhere.
Want to make it, yeah.
So this is it, the challenge game, a series of 8 races, and the winner takes it all. So spoiler alert, it's Cardinal who we lose.
I was going to put my money on the wrong fucking pigeon. Apologies.
We can beat that. That's good.
He didn't swear. It's nice to watch yourself and Sherry kind of like battle it out because like the finishes are close in a lot of these heats.
It's just got to the point now where I need to finish before Tom, and Tom needs to not finish. So it's a battle of the wills here more than anything else. And Tom has...
Oh, that is tragic.
No, it's not. That's
breaking.
Add that to the list of things I love to see. Tomahawk has just made the most difficult series of jumps in this course. Got to the top, driven past the checkpoint, but because both wheels weren't in the ground and he's looking to crash, he was going to crash, it doesn't count as a checkpoint met. I love it. I absolutely love it. So here's the final results of the 8 race series. Tomahawk finished top through, I don't know, hacks and stuff. I finish with 101 points. Sherry finishes with 84 points. And Cardinal did 2 races, completed one of them. So we actually don't know what score he finished with. So that means the league now looks like this. Tomahawk, you're first with 20 points. I am second on 19 points. Cardinal is third with 17 points. And Sherry is fourth with 8 points.
Now, on to this week's episode.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 6, season 2 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that thinks it's Gary Lineker, but it's actually Jermaine Genus. I'm your host, Mr. Luvva, and with me as always are my co-hosts.
Hi Luvva, glad to see you're not Jermaine Genus or Gary Lineker, just yourself. It's Cardinal here, glad to be here. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I've been better. Of course, when you go to hit record a podcast and Windows updates.
Beautiful. That's what you want.
Every time. Traditions.
Every time. Keep it up.
Who doesn't need a 60-minute update when we schedule a record time?
That's it. That is it. How are you, Tomahawk?
I'm very good today, Luvva. And Cardinal, welcome back. It's good to see that you've decided to show up. And for the quarter-century episode.
Yay!
Look at us.
Episode 25.
Can't believe we've been going for a quarter of a century.
After Cardinal's performance last week in Trials, I'm surprised to see him back, to be honest. I am surprised to see you back, Cardinal. What happened?
Shambles.
That's the real question.
Yeah, let's deep dive that then.
Let's get this out of the way nice and early.
Right,
what
okay.
happened last week?
I had a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
I installed the game, joined, was asking all of you guys what the controls were, asked what bike it was I was supposed to choose. You told me one after the choice ended, and
yeah,
it was a disaster very quickly.
He clearly didn't hear the last minute rule change as well. I feel as if that was made very clear in the off, and he chose to ignore it.
I mean, you said he didn't hear the last minute rule change, but he clearly did because he took part in 2 races.
What rule change was that?
Oh dear.
What?
The rule change where it was no longer an eliminator, and we were just going to do 8 races.
Lads, I have no idea about this Trials Fusion game. I don't know what that means.
Incredible.
In fact, I'll go further. I don't care.
That's it. It's done and dusted.
To,
it's in the past.
I would have liked to have played it more, but I didn't. Time didn't afford me the opportunity.
What is it? Jeff Goldblum says, life just finds a way.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Good old Jeff.
And
Just like
speak-
Neville Chamberlain said, peace in our time.
If you find peace in Cardinals' performance last episode, hit the like button, subscribe button, follow button, and give us a wee go there. If you're on hashtag Team Cardinal, now's the only time you're going to get to apologize to those folks there, Cardinal.
No, call the press
That's all right.
conference.
Yeah.
He flaunts the cup as if it means anything halfway
like it
through
just
season
sit
2.
He's absolutely worse than the PGMOL, so yes, he's absolutely shameless. Absolutely shameless.
Can't wait to see his internal audio released to the public.
Do you know, having a cup like this is just like like an eternal little boys club, you know? It's just people with their cups hang out. You know, they're podcast winners' trophies essentially.
And speaking of podcast winning trophies, the time has come, gentlemen, to refresh the listeners on what exactly High Scores, High Stakes is. What is the point of this leaderboard? What is the point of these points? What was the point of Cardinal taking part in trials last week? Well, the answer to all that is it's complicated, except for Cardinals. There was no point. But what is High Scores, High Stakes? High Scores, High Stakes is 4 friends playing many PlayStation games, challenging each other to a league table. Every week we'll play a new game and a new challenge in that game. The winner will take 3 points. The loser will take 0 points with 2 and 1 in between. It's really very simple. This episode marks the halfway point of season 2, gentlemen.
Flying in. We are
It's
flying
flying
through
in.
these.
And the league table as of the end of trials looks like this. Tomahawk is in first place with 20 points. I am in second place with 19 points. Cardinal is in third place with 17 points. And Sherry is breathing down the neck of Cardinal on 8 points. I'm stretching the definition of breathing down the neck
Still a lot
there,
of heavy
but
lifting.
He's
there.
breathing down the neck in like pre-pandemic or like middle of pandemic social distancing in that way.
yeah, do you remember,
Yeah, he's
do you remember the Vuvuzelas from the World Cup 2010? Sherry has like a 20-foot one of them, and he's like, that's what's
We'll
happening.
just
and he's down the road.
insert a Vuvuzela sound effect just for that part now, Luvva. I feel as if we should.
I feel like we should. I'm surprised Cardinal doesn't have one on his wee signboard there, but here we are.
I looked. I know there isn't one there, and I still looked for it.
Yes, we got him. We got him, folks.
Incredible. Incredible.
Incredible. But enough talk about Vuvuzelas. Let's get the talk back round to PlayStation games. So tell me, Cardinal, what are you playing?
Quality.
Good to hear that back again.
Never gets old.
It doesn't. And look, I've been on holiday for a week. So what I will say is I have touched Cyberpunk because it's got its
Ooh.
new DLC and release, and sort of they've essentially remade the game.
Cyberpunk
Uh,
2.0. Is it
Yes.
superior? Is it a good game now? Is it a good game?
Let me tell you, the reviews are excellent.
They are.
My own review, I don't know because I can't play it because it stutters so much that it's unplayable. It might be down to all the mods I had and things that need updated or removed. I don't know. I'll find out.
It's
I
Cardinal
hope to play it.
Starfield 2.0 is what's happening here.
And
There's a-
Starfield was the Sorry,
There-
right. I haven't tried Starfield because I just thought I'll just leave that. I'll give it time. I'll let them patch it.
There is a pattern forming here of Cardinal trying to play high-end PC games and failing miserably. I think there might be an apology from Microsoft coming up here from the Cardinal Smith household. So what do you apologize for this week, Cardinal?
Well, you know what? We'll get into a few more apologies from some other major gaming companies.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I wonder who. I wonder who he's talking about. So you've been trying to play Cyberpunk 2.0, and Cyberpunk 2.0 is like, please get a better PC, scrub.
Essentially,
Have you been playing anything else?
I don't want to talk about Football Manager
Thank goodness.
because I play it all the time.
And no one wants to hear about Football Manager, so we're moving on
Exactly.
to Tomahawk and
Good
go
stuff.
Tomahawk. What are you playing?
So, based on Name That Game last week, I decided to delve into Supermassive Games The Quarry.
Le Quarry, as they say in La France.
Now, my original plan for The Quarry was that was going to be what I was going to plan to stream, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of let that story-based narrative just kind of pan out online for the world to see. And I thought I saw something on PlayStation Plus that it's coming to an end in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So I was just like, nope, that's not happening. Get this done and dusted. And I think today alone I put about 8 hours into it.
Okay.
It's awesome. It
So-
is absolutely awesome. In terms of like, I feel as if Until Dawn walked so the Quarry could run.
Okay. Is it a big jump in like everything or just like storytelling or
In
what's
terms
the
of the
crack with it?
storytelling, the storytelling's quite excellent. It's the same sort of, you pick up something, you remember it's there, it may come back into fruition later on. The the totem pole system, the way that they did it Until Dawn is slightly different. You pick up like tarot cards, but they don't get drawn on until the end of chapters where
Right.
so you have this like Mystic Meg type character who'll like read a tarot
Yeah.
card to you that you've picked up and will ask
Right.
you, do you want them to go further into it or you can skip? So if you choose them to look further
Oh.
into it, they'll show you a clip.
So it's taken the hint system from the Dark Pictures anthology and made it
Yes.
like an actual gameplay mechanic because there are parts. So at the end of, I don't know if you've played any of the Dark Pictures. Have you played any of it? Any of yours? So Man of Medan, The Devil Inside.
It's on the list, but no, I haven't
Okay,
actually
so-
touched into them.
No
So
idea what we're talking about.
it sounds like the same sort of setup, whereas the Dark Pictures anthology treats obviously every game as a separate story, but it's split into chapters. And at the end of every chapter, you'll go to the curator. I think he's called. There's a guy in a library, and he was like, "You're doing quite well at the minute. Everyone's still alive.
They give you these
Although-
like arbitrary comments. Yeah.
There's a big choice coming up. Would you like to see a hint?" And you can say yes or no. And if you say yes, it'll show you like the big decision coming up in the next chapter. But
Yeah.
it kind of spoils the fun then. So I've never actually watched it. So I've actually
Well,
no idea
that's
how it
it.
does it.
So the way the Quarry does it, it's like they pick. You know the way in. Sorry, I should say Until Dawn. You picked up the totem poles, and it would show you
Like a flash
a
of what
little.
could happen.
Yeah. So they just
Mhm.
take that and put it at the end of the chapter, but you can choose to or
not to
not
watch
to
it?
watch it. Basically, so I have been watching it just to kind of help make a more informed choice because I'm going down the road now of playing it as the player, not as the character, because I know all the bits going on.
Mhm.
I'm not doing it impulsively as the character would in the moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. that
So
sounds
it's
quite
making for a
interesting.
really interesting. There's a moment where you're being chased, but I know that that person chasing me isn't actually to do me harm. So I'm like not doing any of the QTEs. I'm not doing any reactions,
Okay.
and then it still ends like it's so
Yeah.
frustrating how the game
Yeah.
forces you. Yeah, but
Yeah, and the thing about those flashes as well is if it's like the Dark Pictures anthology, some of them are misleading. So you'll see something and it will look like one thing, but then when the time comes, it's a
Exactly.
completely different thing. And it's like, "Ah, I made the wrong choice."
there is what I will say for the character rendering because it just looks incredible for the PS5 version. The like 99% of it, there is one character, and no matter where she looks, it's almost as if like her lips are perfectly facing the camera just to go, look at how well we've lip synced this. It doesn't matter where she's facing in the room, and I'm like, that's my only gripe on it. But
Like
it's only with
Peppa
one
Pig.
character. Yeah, but it's only with one character.
It's like that there, is it Razer have that weird intense eye contact thing where AI's your eyes looking at your camera all the time
Yeah.
for live streaming and stuff. Sounds amazing. So it's good then, yeah.
It's a great wee story. I actually think it's even the characters are more likable than they were than Until Dawn. Until Dawn just had unlikable characters from the get go, so I think I deliberately went all the negative paths. Whereas this one, I kind of am rooting for nearly everybody.
See, I quite yeah. I Until Dawn was really good. I still think it's a really really good game. What I like about it is it takes everyone and they're like these stereotypical horror movie characters, but as the story progresses, they sort of diverge into their own wee paths. And I think every game I really like them. I really
Yeah.
like all of them. I think the Dark Pictures they're not as good as Until Dawn. I would say Little Hope is better than Until Dawn. And I
Okay.
think the games from Little Hope have just gotten better and better. The Devil Inside's a great game.
I know they're on my list
Great
to
game.
they're on my list to play anyway, but I think once I get I'm thinking if I can get this done and potentially a second playthrough done,
Mm-hmm.
just for purely for alternate endings and see where that is, because I had to Google at the very start, like these tarot cards, you don't pick them up in conventional means. They are like an icon in the scene, and you just have to pick them up that way. I had to Google where the first one was in the prologue because the little gypsy woman shouted at me for not giving her a tarot card after the prologue, and I was like, but where was it? Like
What are you talking about?
it's a straight path, yeah. So they're
Sorry,
bollig to find.
just if I may interject. You said
Yes.
Devil Inside is a great game. So
Uh,
I just decided to Google it.
What was the score?
Metacritic, released November 2000.
Oh,
Definitely
no.
one you're talking about.
It's the
User score 5.6.
Oh,
5.6.
no, not
That's
that
not a
one.
definition of great. Out of 10.
I've never
That's
heard
at
of
a
that game.
500.
The Dark Pictures presents The Devil Inside. Try that.
Oh, well, that's
And while Cardinal is Googling that, I feel as if we could round this section off then. Luvva, what are you playing?
I have been playing Resident Evil Remake.
Beautiful.
Still, absolutely, I think this might be my third playthrough in a week. It is magnificent, but I talked about that last week. I also have been playing Icon Hunters on the Steam Deck. Icon Hunters is from the guys that made Borderlands.
Okay.
Gearbox, is that what they're called?
Yes.
And it's a 2D isometric twin stick shooter, but it's like it's with role playing elements and roguelike elements. It is really good. It's a really good game. Really, really funny, really witty. I'm not very far into it, but the only downside to it is the story is all single player only, but you must have a network connection to play it.
Oh, serious?
Oh, nightmare.
I get so. 70% something.
70%.
5.8 user score.
User score.
I never
no.
trust the user score.
No.
Has it
score.
been review bombed?
No, probably not.
Look,
but go ahead.
let's no one say this podcast overhyped some horror games.
I've never once overhyped anything. I mean, The Evil Dead is dead forever, but we'll not discuss that.
No,
we never once overhyped it.
We chose to play it on our podcast season 1, and
Sherry was right.
Some things are better left banished to the underworld, and I think it's that game, to be fair now.
Yes. And then the last game I've been playing this week is Super Castlevania 4.
Beautiful.
Which is great. And I don't need to talk too much about that because everyone knows how good a game that is.
Yeah.
It is right up there. So, unless we want to talk about anything else other than the Dark Pictures anthology getting unfairly reviewed by everyone, let's get straight into the internet's newest favorite craze. Name that game. And Cardinal. Name that game. I don't know if you have. I don't know if you have watched last week's episode. I hope you have. I know you have, in fact. But it doesn't look too well for you. So basically, we had a couple of guests on, and we played Name That Game. And I said, can any of you two one-time guests beat Cardinal's season score on Name That Game? The bad news is, C-Ran is now ahead of you in the league. The league for Name That Game looks like this. Tom is top with 5 points. C-Ran is second with 2 points. Google is third with 1 point. And Cardinal, you're fifth with half a point.
I just don't know any games.
No, he's fourth. He's fourth with half a point because Randy couldn't get in edgeways. So
no, and to be fair, the games last week were quite difficult.
That's a sentence.
They were quite difficult. But anyway, what is Name That Game? Name That Game is simple.
They're always difficult.
I have trawled Amazon user reviews for various PlayStation games.
For too
And I'm
long,
going
some might say, but yeah.
way too long. I've got another 2 this week. So basically, I'm
Perfect.
going to read the user review. I'm going to remove a couple of words or phrases that might give away what the game is, but it's your task to name that game based on the review. So remember the rules, Cardinal. No shouting out. I'll read the whole thing and you get one guess. If you don't get it after one guess, I'll give you a clue. Are you ready to play Name That Game, Cardinal?
Hit it.
Are you ready to play Name That Game, Tomahawk?
Take us there.
Right, game number 1. I wanted to like this game. I was excited for it since it was teased. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite live up to any expectations, I guess. You've probably read it in plenty of reviews by now, and I'm all for building your own opinion of things, so I got the game anyway. Good things first. It's been running very smoothly and without any issues or bugs on my end, and I'm playing with ray tracing on. And the soundtrack is really great and fits the genre and the setting. That's about it. The combat had a lot of potential, but it is made worse by the camera that can get in the way when battling a lot of enemies. There's no variety in enemies, and you don't even have to switch much between your different magics, really. The world is huge, yes, but it lacks in variety of enemies, and it's always the same stuff to do in every part of the world. The landscape is pretty bland as well. Also, there's no need to do any of those side things I find. Side things. I did some at the beginning, but got bored pretty quickly. Leveling up was fast. You find mana just lying around en masse. There's no appeal to actually do any of the side stuff. Cardinal Tomahawk, name that game.
Let me just begin with saying I have no idea. Elden Ring.
Okay. Tomahawk.
See, I was originally gonna say Guardians of the Galaxy, but then you said mana. So I'm thinking, is it Hogwarts Legacy?
It is neither of those 2 games.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Nice.
So, clue number 1. It is a PlayStation 5 console exclusive, and it was developed by Luminous Production. Name that game.
No.
Man's honest. You have to give him points
mean,
for that.
He's consistent, if nothing else.
A
Tomahawk.
PlayStation
5 console exclusive. Developed
Illumination.
by Luminous
Oh,
Productions.
Luminous. I hate this. I hate this section now.
Okay, do I read the second clue?
Yeah, let's
Yes.
double up.
It was published by Square, but it was unveiled at the Unreal Engine 5 announcement.
Good God, that didn't help at all. Is it like Luvva obvious, or is it like the rest of the world obvious?
I think
Because they're
that
two
second
very
clue.
different things.
I think that
Yeah.
second clue. There's going to be people screaming at their whatever they're listening to this on, screaming the answer. That second clue is a big one.
Unreal Engine 5.
Your face is a big one, but I mean that doesn't help.
Wow, it's rude. It's actually not that big. Just the beard's quite big.
Oh, I think that is. It's just weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his plumage.
Any sort of ideas, gentlemen?
Not a clue.
Forza Motorsport.
Or if he's going to throw a
Oh.
guess. If he's going to throw a guess out.
Not Forza, because Forza's an Xbox game. PlayStation 5 console exclusive.
I would say I would say like a Tomb Raider game, but there's no mana. I don't. I don't know.
Trying to like delve into my magic based games here, and it's not The Witcher because we already did The Witcher.
We've already
I
done
know,
The
I
Witcher.
know that.
Mhm.
Is it? It's not Elden. I'm gonna go with Skyrim PS5. It's not though. Like
It's not though. I mean, if any game has never been a console exclusive, it's,
it's gonna be Skyrim. I know. Well,
Okay.
Elder Scrolls 6 definitely will be, but
Your last clue for this game is it is an open world ARPG, and it was released in January 2023. Name that. So it's a PlayStation 5 console exclusive, Developed by
Final
Luminous
Fantasy 16.
Productions, published by Square, but unveiled at the Unreal Engine 5, and it is an open world ARPG that released in January, which is 1 month before Hogwarts.
Final Fantasy 16.
It was the first big release of this year. I can't believe it was this year, by the way.
Oh, really?
Either.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It's one of those ones. It seems like a way long time ago.
It's a standalone. It's not like a sequel or a
Nope.
prequel or anything.
Yep. It's a standalone game.
I hate this. I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass.
This is
Cardinal.
how this game went the last time I was on. And it's just the clue. Oh, it was made by this random company you've never heard of. Oh,
I mean,
great.
I thought you would have got it with the Unreal Engine 5 unveiling thing. It was Forspoken. Do you remember that game?
No.
You don't remember Forspoken? It was Project
No.
Athia, I think it was called, the Unreal Engine 5. It was like the girl running through the Grand Canyon type thing.
No.
The full
I've
game came out in
never-
January and got hammered by everyone because the dialogue was terrible. Well, if you didn't get that one, you might not get this one either.
So, do you know what this was? Right, Forspoken. Now you say it. I
I
kind of
still
remember
never
the name,
heard of it.
But you say like an Unreal 5 demo. I remember seeing Unreal 5 demoing AI generative landscapes.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
with
was
their new
that
update.
demo.
But
That was the demo. That was the demo. That was
I
Project
don't
Athia.
associate that with any game. I thought that was just an Unreal 5 kind of showing off Unreal 5s.
It was both. It was both.
Okay.
It was Project Athia, I think it was called. Right, game number 2. You need to redeem yourselves here. This is
Let's go.
That's 3 games in a row. I don't think either of you have got. So
Yeah.
That's a chance. Yeah.
5 if we're going to include last week's Tomahawk.
Poor
No
showing from me.
pressure. You're on the same sort of form as your beloved Everton.
True.
Right. Game number 2. I
This
don't
man's
get
leading
why.
the podcast. Sorry. This man's leading the podcast. Where does that put us? Anyway.
I don't get why people are hating this game. For a game which gives me Resident Evil 4-esque gameplay with added combat mechanics makes for a great game. I think a lot of people's issues are when it becomes overwhelming with like 3 enemies, but a quick shotgun blast deals with this. I think people find they won't like it if they expect an exact copy. If that's the case, then go and buy Resident Evil 4. However, I have found the combat mechanics, weapons, and graphics very well done. Name that game.
Is it Resident Evil Village?
I was going to say Resident Evil Village as well.
It is not Resident Evil Village. Clue number 1. This game was developed by Striking Distance.
Come on, that's not a clue. Why is
I'd never heard of them either.
Is this one of those I forgot to do clues? So here's the
No,
developer.
I actually do have clues this week. Do you want the clue number 2 then?
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
It was released in December 22.
And it's a horror game.
It's a horror game. Well, I like to think so. It's being compared
Is
to.
it the Callisto Protocol?
You want to hazard a guess, Cardinal, or shall we just go to clue number 3?
Is it not Callisto Protocol?
It is the Callisto Protocol.
Oh,
Yes, he's back, baby.
So that means Tom is on 6. Cardinal, you're still on half.
Do you know what? That actually has. I could just feel the whole weight leave my body there. I feel redeemed. That was actually incredible.
Do you want to know what? Fair play to you, because the game in which they're constantly comparing it to in that review isn't Resident Evil 4. It's Dead Space.
It's Dead Space, yeah.
It's Dead Space. Hey, it gives you a Dead Space-esque gameplay. If you want to play Dead Space, go play Dead Space. I just cheated the Resident Evil 4.
But that was it. That was the problem with Callisto Protocol. It was released within not too far shout from the Dead Space remake, wasn't it? I think I have it in my head that they was very close.
Yeah, it was
they've
a
kind of
month
just
either
cancelled each
side.
other. They've just cancelled each other out, really.
It was a month either side, and I can't remember what beat what first. I think was Dead Space this year. Was Dead Space remake this year, or was it November last year? There was like a month in between them.
I don't know what Dead Space is.
27th
what-
of January 23 was Dead Space remake.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. I knew there was a month between. I just can't remember which one came first. So it was the Callisto Protocol, which was made by the original writer and dev of the original director of Dead Space.
To be fair, now that it's on PlayStation Plus, I probably will binge
I'm
Callisto.
I am 100% playing that game this month. So that's my plan for it. I will 100% play that game when it's on PlayStation Plus.
See,
I
I'll
don't
back to
know.
back it. I probably will buy then Dead Space and then we'll do a deep dive at both of them and how they're apparently the same game.
Yeah, and yeah,
8.8.
I like Dead Space enough. Yeah, Dead Space was decent.
89 Metacritic.
For Callisto Protocol or Dead Space?
Deadpool. Dead Space.
Yeah. Dead Space
Oh yeah,
might be
rightly so. Yeah.
the Dead Space remakes meant to be great. And speaking of great games, shall we go to our challenge game this week, boys?
For the love of God, yes.
Yeah,
Let's
may as
get
well, I
there.
suppose.
There's gonna be opinions here, folks. Please do stick around and listen
Bear
to
with us on this one.
what's
Yes.
coming up. Let's get straight there. Okay, so this week's challenge is subject to yet another last minute rule change, folks.
Thank you,
Um,
Konami.
Thank you, Konami. So this week's challenge, for those who may not remember, was originally a 2v2 in eFootball 2024. However,
This.
once we all logged into our PlayStations and logged into the eFootball 2024 servers, we swiftly realized that 2v2 does not exist with existing teams. You can only play co-op on the Dream Team section, which is effectively just a way of tying in to make you buy cards, to make you get all these decent players and stuff. It's an underhanded tactic from Konami, and it's not the first one they've ever done, and it won't be the last.
Yes.
So
No,
basically,
if-
what we've
Through a big spanner. Sorry, I've interrupted
yeah,
there.
no, go on ahead. Go
It
on ahead.
has thrown a massive spanner in the works, and I feel as if you just said there pre-record there, we need to start prepping these a bit better. But this kind of wasn't our fault, to be fair,
Yeah,
because
no,
2v2 in a football game should
has
be
existed.
standard.
I mean, I remember playing 2v2 in FIFA 97 on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
I remember playing 2v2 on Sensible World of Soccer on the Sega Mega Drive. It's a standard feature on a football game, and it should be a standard feature. eFootball 2023 had it, and 2024 is the same game with a roster update, and they've stripped it of some stuff. But anyway, enough about that. Konami have really they've dropped us in it here.
No. We had to react again. We've been here before. We tried to play Doom
Yeah.
before. We found out that didn't happen, so we switched quick.
So we adapt and we overcome, and that's exactly what
Exactly.
we've done here. So at the end of last week's episode, there was a draw about who's on whose team. It was me and Sherry versus Cardinal and Tom, and it was me and Sherry were AC, and they were going to be Inter Milan. So what we have done is we've kept the essence of the original challenge, and we have played two separate games. So what's happened is I have played Tomahawk, and Cardinal, you played Sherry in two separate games. So what we're going to do is we're going to show the highlights of both games, and we'll see what the outcome is. We're going to aggregate the scores of each, and whichever team comes out on top will get 3 points each, and the losing team will get 0 points each. So without any further ado, there's a lot of opinions on this game. I have a lot of opinions. I'm very much looking forward to giving those opinions, but I think those opinions would be best served whilst the game is playing in the background. So without any further ado, whoever is taking the reins of producer, please hit the play button. So eFootball 2024, and as luck would have it, our random draw between who's getting AC and Inter worked out beautifully, because I don't know if any of you two noticed, AC and Inter have exactly the same star rating in this game, and apparently they're both 4.5-star teams. I think that eFootball might be showing a bit of bias there, because there's 20 real football teams in this, and the minimum I saw was 3.5 stars. I don't know if I would classify either Inter or AC as a 4.5-star football team.
Maybe
but
like 10 years ago, 15.
yeah. I mean, Inter were certainly not a 4.5-star team when Gareth Bale scored a hat trick from left back in
Exactly.
2011.
Yes.
They've never really recovered as a club. But yeah,
But we
so
digress.
we-
Essentially, they're even teams.
they are perfectly poised, perfectly
Um,
diametrically opposed.
And Pez, any Pro Evo players of the past will remember there's conditions based on each player. They could be, you could just start a match and one player will be like red hot form, which will actually give a boost of about 10, 15 to each of his stats.
Yeah.
Or down, and it'll be the opposite side of the scale. So we set it all to normal. Everything equally fine.
Yes. But not all things are equal in eFootball 2024.
As
I
we'll
think
find out.
I think that sets up perfectly. So what we're going to be watching first is a very succinct highlight reel of Tomahawk versus Luvva. So let's get this video going because I have a lot to say. And I'm not going to go Jose Mourinho and say if I talk I get in trouble. I'm going to give you
You
the
don't
honest
care.
appraisal.
You hope
No,
to get
I'll
in
be honest,
trouble.
I haven't seen this game. I've kept this as a surprise for myself tonight.
I haven't watched any of it because I'm not going to lie. Once this game ended with me and Tom, I was still on our group chat and I had deleted it off my hard drive, and I will
Tom's through straight away.
never play it
It's
again.
saved.
But yes, so like all good football games, there is a very it wants you to play the game in a precise manner. It wants you to do certain things. It wants you to pass plenty, but unfortunately for eFootball, the passing system is pants.
Horrific. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
how
he's
that
through.
ball winds up at my feet, and that's Olivier Giroud, the best finisher in AC, apparently. Now, one thing I found in this was the passing system was dreadful. Sometimes the AI would pick the most bizarre pass for you, despite the fact you're holding the stick in a opposite
through.
thing, and I'm 3.
Here's Giroud.
No,
But
you're
it's
right.
weak.
I found that in the passes through balls, it would nearly pick the player in front of you
Or yeah,
or the player behind you, and you're then sort of left in the lurch thinking, what am I supposed to do here? And you're scrambling. Like we did shout a lot of this that you couldn't string 4 or 5 passes together,
no.
which again, this is sort of what you're saying about how eFootball this year wants you to play. I remember like
he's
FIFA
giving it straight
06,
away.
FIFA 07 wanted you just to do long shots and power shots. So there's always like a mission statement, we'll say, but no, it was horrific from top to bottom, the playing experience, at least anyway.
It was
And just to interrupt these guys complaining, it's been about 3 chances to 3 chances for each team. Very even play, but really clear-cut chances. So shots outside the box, but there's 0-0 at half-time.
I mean, so
between-
it's half time. It's 0-0. It's perfectly poised, as Cardinal says. It's a pretty even game. It is a pretty even game, but I find like the passing system, it wants you to pass around other players, but you can't control where you're. Maybe I'm missing something, but I just find sometimes the pass would go exactly where you want. Other times it would go nowhere near where you want, and it was almost as if sometimes the games there must be like a momentum system where the game will swing it.
I think
For-
so, yeah.
Oh, well,
the game will
yes. So from PES 6, I think they introduced a percentage chance of your action actually coming true, and that was based on condition, your poise, your control, and what direction you were facing. Like, so if you want to change the direction of where you pass or shoot,
yeah.
you have to be perfectly pointing that way. Otherwise, there's going to be this massive chance it balloons somewhere.
Yeah.
And this is 15 years later.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it's
Now, what I
still
will say
the
about it,
same.
though, the physics in the game is quite realistic, but
yes.
I mean, it's not like in FIFA where you could just like punt the ball from anywhere and it will go top ins. Like this actually makes you do work for the goals, but the game kind of does fight you back on that.
The game puts up a heck of a lot of resistance to things that you want to do, and it makes it clear that if you're trying to do something that's impossible, it's not going to come off.
And
But that's
Tom
it.
has scored with a
Big
deft
bosh.
finish.
I tell you what, Marcus
1-0 in the
Thuram in this
75th
game
minute.
is incredible.
Cool.
I
That was
love
incredible.
this. Yes, that's a
I get a job at the BBC with this this editing style. Like I feel as if I could just get on the match of the day train, no problem.
that is a good finish. So it is. There's no
You just won't get a job at the BBC with all this complaining.
no. I'll tell you what. Roy Keane gets on consistently,
Oh, what
but
chance?
I don't know how
Love it
that
to
header
respond.
ends up where it is. But there's a lot of question marks in this game.
You would seem to win the header, perfect cross, and then but you seem to hit the ball just directly down, like vertically.
But I don't, because one thing I did notice quickly in this game was once you push the shoot button, it's where you're holding the stick is where you're going to aim for. But everyone
I
shoots like
it's like
Lukaku.
this,
I mean,
like-
that was me holding the finesse R1 button, and it ends up in row Z in Roma. Like, I have no idea how that's happened at all, and I would love for anyone in the comments to tell me how that has.
Like I remember
missed
in
so-
chat, you nearly flipped the lid because you were like, "That's in. That should." I said that should be 1-1, really.
Yeah.
But
But here we are, first game over, and it's 1-0 to Tom, which means
very
him
fine,
and
like-
Cardinal.
for as bad as the game was, we do cancel each other out for the most part. I think it took one extra shot there to. If we could just scroll it back there, just to the match stats, then.
Yeah, of course.
It just it was a lot closer than I realized in the long run.
Yeah, I mean,
You know-
yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good game of football at all by any stretch of
No.
imagination. I think if that was on TV, you're turning the channel over, aren't you? Or
That's
to
it.
quote-
Yes,
to quote
absolutely.
Shankly, if that game was in your back garden, you're drawing your curtains. I mean, it was low quality. I mean, there's just I've got a lot more. I've got a lot more to say. The finishing's poor, the passing's poor. Sometimes the first touch, you use the right stick to sort of angle your body so you can take a better first touch around people. I mean, we were both trying that, and it was just randomly bouncing off players.
Give up.
And
I give up with the right stick. Yeah, it just wasn't a function I was familiar with, and I think my brain was recessing into FIFA
yeah,
controls where that gives you an extra touch or it helps you sort of drive the ball past. But then I found that the defenders and the attackers have the same pace and strength, so it didn't really matter in this.
yeah, that's the thing that got me as well, is the players all feel the same. Which
Yeah.
Pez never did. Pez, you could instantly, if you had a player who could run really fast with the ball at his feet and then pass it to a player who had low dribbling skill, they felt so different. But in this one, everyone just felt like they can do everything, but ironically, they can't do anything particularly well. You know, I just don't understand it. This game reminded me of an old PlayStation 1 football game called eFootball, where it did a lot of stuff right, but it was so janky and nothing really worked really well. Everything worked okay, but it left a really sour taste in your mouth because of you couldn't rely on any one system to work consistently the way it should do every time. I think in a sports game, especially a sports simulation game. I mean, I don't like FIFA or EAFC, whatever it's called this day. But one thing I will say about FIFA is, other than the computer manufacturing goals, and you all know what I'm talking about, where there's times where you can try these things and it just doesn't work because the game wants a goal. You can rely on the systems working 100% of the time, whereas with PES, no.
Pez is just a microtransactions.
Well, that's it.
facility.
Yeah. The
It's-
sad
it's-
thing is, when it went free to play, I thought that's great because back in the day, Pez was personally, I think, the superior of the two. And I thought, right, we're onto something here. Let's do Master League. Let's do everything. And I think just once they started to lose the rights and they started to lose all the other details in that game, they just was like, well, Ultimate Team is a popular format. Let's just do our version of it and scrub out what else isn't working.
I think there's a bit of history there. There's a classic Konami, and Konami also had this issue or drama around Kojima.
Mhm.
Some of the later PES titles were using I can't remember the name of the engine, but it was a
Fox engine?
Kojima engine. Fox engine. Yeah,
The
yeah.
Fox engine. Yeah.
And a hardcore PES player tells me that he didn't enjoy that much, and it just sort of got worse. And then when the Kojima split happened to Konami,
This is what
I'm
happens.
not sure it's
Goddammit,
ever moved
Kojima.
on. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot of my complaints about this game have been complaints I've had about PES. Even way back when I still say PES 5 is probably the single greatest football video game ever made. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we're not far off that. I would have said PES 6, but we're in the same
See,
realm of thinking.
I remember
PS5, you could score with any player from anywhere on the pitch as a free kick, like 45 yards. Crap
yes,
player,
like
top corner.
I think PES 5 is
Careful.
great. I think it played the best football. PES 6 was that awkward PES where the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 version was woeful, but the PlayStation 2 version was amazing. But that sort of era of PES, like 4, 5, 6, are all really, really good games. But the issues that I'm complaining about with this are issues that I've had since PES 4, which was 2003, 2004.
I'm
Like,
just
you're
looking
talking
at
20
this.
years.
I'm just looking at this. This is a really daunting statistic for both of us, actually. I'm just looking at the
Mhm.
successful passes.
Yep.
63
Yep.
to my 95, even like in a regular game of football, that is
That's nothing.
dire.
That is nothing. Like, we're both missing out. You're missing out on a quarter of your passes. I've missed a third of mine. A third. And there's other issues, but we'll talk about the other issues when we get showing Cardinal versus Sherry, the deciding game. So
'Cause it
just
is
to
finely
you want-
poised, we'll say.
yeah, it's on
It
a
is.
knife edge. I mean, there wasn't too much between us in that game, but it's Cardinal versus Sherry. Anything can happen. Let's find out whose team is going to take it. Is it going to be Inter? Are they going to do a comeback of the ages, or will AC will they do a comeback? Not Inter, or will Inter hold on to what they have?
Well, let's find out.
Let's find out. And here we are, the decider, the big one, Cardinal versus Sherry. This is a rematch from the Street Fighter 5
Oh,
final,
that's right.
in which Sherry absolutely embarrassed Cardinal Smith. So the question is, can Cardinal regain some semblance of pride, or will Sherry take him to task one more time? Let's not wait to find out. Let's do this. Let's hit play button, please, Cardinal.
We
And
have been
let's
saying
see.
how season 2 has just been about story arcs and everything. This has been incredible. What do you want, Cardinal? What are you trying to tell me? That hand's waving in the corner there.
I'm telling you that I accidentally left the activity, so now Love is hosting, so he has to hit play.
Am I hosting?
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear, this is a shambles.
Things you do for this podcast, lover.
I have to hit play buttons now. Right, and here we go, kick off then. And I have noticed that the length of this highlights reel is a lot longer than ours. So I can only assume more happens here.
We're in for a treat from the looks of things here now.
Yep. So
Unlike you old Tom and Lova here, he and Sherry weren't in touch with each other.
mhm.
So we were just hammering it out like two random online players.
I love that. I love the whole energy Sherry brings to the whole game. He will join our gameplay voice chats, but sit in silence. And maybe he might communicate sometimes
And
via
not
text, but not
participate, yeah.
always. And you'll ask them questions and he'll type the answers. It's just like this bizarre, as you say, like Xbox 360, like random who in 2005 who's broke his headset in anger or something. That's like what's like. But
Oh,
what
Cardinal's
a
off for a flyer.
finish.
So straight away, Sherry just keeps passing it right back to me, and getting crowded out. But as you say, yes, it was
It's a
It's a
good
good start.
finish. That it's a good finish. But yes, I would say during the week, I had said to Sherry, I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Here, do you want to play a wee bit of eFootball here and get the grips with it? Can't mate. Can't mate. Can't mate.
Oh,
Oh,
that
And
is
Sherry equalizes. And it was
beautiful
a great
equalizer.
equalizer too. Yeah, he floated the ball across
That
over.
he
was.
Headed in.
really did. That keeper got nowhere near that.
But I
So
find that that's how
1-1.
Pez wants you to play as well. Just like you pace out into the wings and just a wee dink into the box again. That's how I found even in like offline mode was getting quite a lot of goals as well. We're very close again.
Yeah, I struggled with the shooting system. It was poor. I just don't understand the power. But the power doesn't seem to make any difference at all. Because me and you played a wee game beforehand just to see how the code was and stuff. And I scored a penalty, but it scored it in a random spot in the goal that I wasn't aiming for, and I have no idea why. But yeah, there's lots more issues with this game. So one of them, and I just noticed it there with you, Cardinal, is I find if you pass a ball into space and you select a player to run into it. Sometimes is that 2-1? It is.
Yeah.
That is
Oh
2-1.
dear.
And I kept this celebration in the edit because it was just incredible.
It's a great
Red dancing
celebration,
to
to
the
be
microphones.
fair.
I mean, they're the television mics for the crowd. You can't do that. They're there
Ah,
for
well.
a very specific job.
I'm also
But
trying to think, in terms of the goals, we've got 3. In terms of unique
moment of
transitions, we've
controversy
also
here.
got 3.
that's
That's right.
a horrendous tackle, by the way. That's
Sherry
straight
at this
red.
And a
straight
straight
red
red.
Sherry's just received, and Sherry did a lot of complaining about
I
this
mean-
in the chat that was never a red. And he
I mean,
was
I mean,
nowhere near the ball.
I mean, the ball was. He tackled before the ball got there. He would have got the ball if he just ran onto it.
Yeah.
I mean, that is dreadful.
the collision on it is
Whoa.
that's an incredible
Wow.
transition. But the collision detection on this game is so bizarre as well. And what you'll get flagged up on a foul is lunacy as well.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny because there was a load of tackles in our game where we should have got yellows, but me and you were like, did they forget to code the card given in this game? Because the referee doesn't let anything go, so everything's a foul. He blows the whistle for every challenge, yet never seems to
Yeah.
book anybody. I just think you can't have a both ways
Like
here,
it
ref. What do you
has to
wanna
be
do?
really
Bad.
easy
Oh,
peasy, that is.
I don't know how that goes in, to be
That's a
fair now. That's a shinner.
Near post. Near
It's a
post, lad.
It's a shin, mate. You've hit it with your shin. Your shin pad made more contact in your foot. But anyway, as I was saying beforehand, other issues I found with this game is if you pass a ball into space and you try to select the player closest to the ball, it will not select the player who you expect it to. You always pick a
No.
random player.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Once you swap player, all the other players stop running.
Juke
They
them.
just
Juke
stop?
them. Pass 3. Pass 3. Absolutely. As soon as you hit L1 to selected player, it'll go somewhere else. And you almost have to press it twice to get the
Or
player
3
you want.
times, and then you skip past the player you want. You have to hit it all the way through the team.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then you
But
find
there's
that
just
the
loads.
random player it assigns it to, then you are doing this incredible course correction, and then you
That's
outpace the
4.
player, and then you lose control. That is 4-1.
That is
That's
4-1. And it's the same
That celebration is
celebration.
incredible.
That is 4-1.
I'm sure Sherry
and
was crying for this to be
The-
over at this rate with you celebrating.
Sherry and Luvva's
yeah, he
team are
skipped
getting
every.
annihilated.
Oh,
And
there's
I'm not
another
going to
good tackle.
lie, most of this is Sherry's fault, you know? I only lost 1-0.
No,
Maybe
Sherry,
credit
I
myself.
will say, was still fighting hard at this stage. I expected them to just die off, and maybe set the controller down or something.
Yeah.
But he kept coming at me a bit more in these highlights show.
Yep.
And I think there's a counter attack here from my corner where he launches everyone forward.
I mean, yeah, why not? Oh, that's
That's
a
very
goal.
nice.
That's
That's
a
a very nice
good
goal. Very well worked goal as well.
And it was big
Mhm.
Olivier Giroud. Ah, what a man.
Things you'd like
And
to see.
at that point, I was a bit worried. And you have to respond to something like that. You have,
The
I'd
comeback's
say you have
on.
to just keep it easy. Brought a substitute or 2 on, and give them.
Oh, it's a great turn.
Love it. Love it. Did we make substitutes? I don't think we did.
No.
No, I noticed Love
We just played 90
health
minutes of
fitness
just
was way
exhaust
low.
everybody.
But no one was, because the halves are so short. None of our players were like, my players were low by the end, but it didn't make any fundamental difference to the gameplay at all. It used to. You remember players used to just get exhausted, would just wouldn't be able to sprint or anything like
Oh,
that. That's a great finish. What's that? 5-2.
5-2
Yeah,
just ticked over there. But again, I find that
excellent.
like the players are actually getting like Martinez and Thuram are like shaking off that defender quite easily for every goal, and they're
Easily.
just on the spin.
It's
Now,
just it's
look, Sherry is down to 10 men as well, so it did open up Sherry at the back a bit more because he never replaced his
we never
defender
replaced
until
him.
about halfway through this half. So you see now there is a defender there, but he made a hole in the midfield to counter that. But
Yeah.
it did make him more attacking heavy. I don't know if he put more people up front, but look
He
at that
hasn't
challenge.
changed. He hasn't changed his like approach to the game at all. And he hasn't picked more attacking or ultra attacking or nothing like that. He's playing balanced. But these crosses are
Oh, that is
spectacular.
a
That's a really
beautiful
good
header as
header.
well.
Is it crossing from the right every time, landed on someone's head and finished.
But like,
It's
it's so funny watching this because, like, in our game, Lova would do the exact same thing, and that header would be caught up by a defender or would just go the wrong way. Whereas
yeah.
Sherry's just hit the net every time.
I mean,
Yep.
I don't know what I did wrong. I'll never find out because I'll never play this game again. But
I
what
don't
what a
think any
life's
of us have it
mysteries, you
installed.
know? What's
Let's watch
the
this.
what's the truth about the Bermuda Triangle?
Mhm.
What happened at Atlantis?
Oh,
How do you get a header on target in eFootball 2024? These are answers we'll never get. Well, that's a great goal. Is that 6-3?
that is
6-3. 89
6-3.
minutes in the clock, and now Sherry's gonna
Is it
launch a
safe to
last minute.
start celebrating early, Cardinal, potentially?
I think at this stage it is because Sherry has now set down the controller. You'll notice when the marker goes to any of his players, they just stop dead. And this actually makes it harder because the AI, when they're not under Sherry's control, suddenly come at me much harder and press harder. I need to see this chaos of
How do
the
you
goalkeeper
not
starts making
score?
saves.
This is incredible. Sherry has just thrown
Giving
our
up.
team clean under the bus here.
Look at this miss.
Oh my! That's a love
That's
a miss. That
bad.
is worse than Christian Pulisic in our game, who missed that absolute sitter. So in the end, then it's ended. Cardinal Smith
Hit
6,
pause there.
Mr. John
Please.
Sherry,
Get some daunting statistics here.
Mr. John Sherry 3, and it's a one-sided affair, isn't it?
Quite in that
Yeah,
regard.
That's wild. I mean, possession stats are fine. What you expect in a game of football, but those shots on target, absolutely wild. Sherry didn't. All 3 shots went in. Words that he
Clinical.
had with
He was
the
a machine.
goalkeeper. Mm.
That's
He
it. I
even-
think he
he was-
just knows how to play the game, though. He sort of knew the shot
well,
sensitivity and the cross sensitivity works as well, and Giroud's just a heading monster as well.
I mean, he's been absolutely hammered here, so at least he knows how to play the game. Is that an accurate description of what we've just witnessed?
he just
Who knows how to play the game?
nobody knows
Gary.
how to play the game.
No. Konami don't want you to learn how to play the game either. They're happy enough just taking your money for, I'm presuming, player card packs or whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. So yeah, so that's it. So the final score over the 2 games, and the aggregate score was Internazionale 7, AC Milan 3. It's an absolute embarrassment, and it's an absolute drubbing. It's a sort of result that teams just don't typically recover from. I mean, Barca are still trying to recover from their 4-0 defeat at Anfield in 2019.
That's true.
I mean, teams don't typically come back from that. But here, we'll do the wrap up. What this means about everything. So yeah, that's it. Cardinal and Tomahawk have absolutely annihilated myself and Sherry. I'm not the one to point the finger of blame in anyone's direction, but Sherry
Grudge
needs
tip.
Sherry needs to take a long, hard look at himself here and think, could I have done better? could I have held the controller until the
At least
whistle?
the very end.
I mean, I mean, I wasn't having a good time playing that game, but I still saw my game out and kept it
10
respectful.
minutes.
And that
Couldn't
was
see
it.
it through.
10-minute games. We don't even have his. Is it? Sherry, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I
It's
think-
almost. I don't know who's to blame more here, Konami or Sherry, but they're carrying the can. They're carrying the can together and they're walking it. Yeah.
I'm just glad the attention's off me for Trials Fusion.
Oh, it's a terrible, terrible performance all around. It's a terrible performance all around. Just while we're on the topic of this game, a few other complaints I want to make. Number one,
This is
Number
the
one.
Konami complaints corner, everybody. So thanks for
Okay.
listening.
buckle in. It's going to be a long one. Number one, the passing system's awful. Number
Terrible.
two, the shooting system is somehow worse than the passing system. Number three, selecting a player is seemingly random. Number four, your players will stop running whenever you change to a new player. Number five, there doesn't seem to be any AI at all. Number six, the goalkeepers are either world class or non existent. Number seven, Konami made a game that broke my PlayStation 5's record function. I've never seen that before, but I will put a screenshot up on Twitter for you so you can all see the state of it. And the game is just wildly bad. It is up there with the worst football games I have ever played. And I have played some
incredible.
shocking football games. I mean, I bought Dino Dini's Kickoff World Revival, for goodness sake. A game that legitimately had no coding for cards. And Konami's eFootball 2024 is right up there with that for the worst football game I've ever played. It is a shocker. It's a shocking game. But it's all designed. I mean, we said it against PGA 2023, whatever, which was designed around getting as much money from you as possible. This here eFootball is worse for it.
To be fair, PGA 2K23 had a functioning game within,
That's right. Yes.
like surrounded around the cosmetic transactions.
Yeah,
Microtransactions. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, PGA Tour Golfs was absolutely fantastic. And whilst they had the egregious full screen adverts and stuff, eFootball doesn't have that. But eFootball locks all of its good like functionality in that Dream Team section. I played a little bit of the Dream Teams things. I don't know. Can you get football players through organic gameplay?
Yes, there is like you do stuff in the game. So even like simple things like doing the tutorial gets you like coins or gets you perks. Even if you like do like a daily play, every 24 hours it resets and you sign in. You get your coins and you can get players and stuff. Like I actually will throw up my team. Looks like I have well, maybe I might not be able to because I deleted it. Haha. But if I can find that, I will put it up onto the Twitter as well because you can get some decent players. Like obviously you have to put so much time and effort in to get maybe like 90 plus play like rankings, but yeah, it's very much you need to put all this effort in and a lot of, I would imagine, a lot of money to start getting some like real high tier players to make it competitive because the matchmaking is also horrific online.
Yes,
And it is you're not buying a player, you're buying a chance to win a player within a certain category.
Exactly.
Right, you spend
that's
100
egregious,
tokens
isn't
to
it?
spend on a 4-star player, and it'll just be every 4-star player in the game. But
I mean, the only thing I will say about it is the game's free, but it's so
Is it-
egregious with it. No,
is it
there's no
because
such
it
thing.
feels it feels like since PES began, like Pro Evolution Soccer 90 World Cup 98, whatever it was, it's like every single year they've been trolling us by taking out a feature, and this is the result. In a few years, there'll be no ball. Right? You might have 11 players on the pitch, but you'll not be quite sure what you're doing. At the start, you used to be able to change not just the kits, but the shorts and the socks.
Yep.
Swap out
That's
the
right.
colors and
Yes.
things.
I miss
right.
Master League. That's it.
I
I
miss
miss
Master
Master
League as
League,
well.
become a legend.
customizable kits as well, because I remember even doing it in Pro Evo 6 that you would just every at the end of every season would have redesigned a new kit and a sponsor and everything. Like I went whole
Yes.
hog on that. Like
Options files were great. I remember paying money for options files. Like pay, I think it was like £5. You would go onto like GitHub and £5 to download the options
the
file.
license kits and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. It was great. It actually, I loved PES. I honestly loved PES. PES was fantastic, but to see what they've done to hit like
yeah.
it
What
is,
they've done to my boy.
they've massacred my boy. Like, what they've
Do you know
done.
what I will say? In 25 episodes of this podcast, this is the first that we've, as a collective, have negatively, across the board, disliked the game, disliked the challenge, and disliked pretty much every aspect of it.
See, I like the challenge. But I just really dislike that game. I think there's nothing. I can't say anything positive about it. I can't. The commentary is
It was drab.
really poor, like really poor, and it's a real waste of the resources. I mean, you think back to the golf game. A golf game had better commentary than Pro Evolution Soccer. Like it's wild. The game is just it is a classic example of a publisher going, "Is the game finished yet? No, I don't care." You know,
I just get it out
FIFA
now.
comes out.
Yeah.
FIFA comes out in 2 weeks. I don't care. The Premier League season started last week. Get that out. Get out the door. Don't care if it's ready or not. Because I was like,
It's
after the challenge, I went looking to see when the 2v2 option was removed. eFootball 2023 had that option. It was there. And eFootball 2024 is literally an update file to 23. It's the same
that's
game.
it. That's all the games are now. It's a patch job,
But that's why
and
that's
what they've done is stripped everything out. Like they stripped all the unlicensed
all of it.
teams out for no
All of
reason
it.
at all.
All of it. And there's no even there is there any unlicensed teams in it? Is there like there's no
I
Merseyside
think
Blue or
it's
nothing?
I think all the unlicensed ones are like some of the South American teams, but you're not going to play a South American team,
No. I mean
essentially.
you wanna play Liverpool, Liverpool, you want to play well, some people might want to play Everton, I don't know why. But Newcastle, Manchester City, all that sort of stuff. And Pro Evolution
That's
Soccer
it.
used to
Like
have them all.
even the La Liga, Barcelona's the only licensed team, so you can't even do like an El Clasico like that. So
No.
it's so restrictive, and it's restrictive by its own want to be restrictive. I don't know.
Its
Like
own publishers not willing to spend any money. But the weird part is the player database for the fantasy side is really
the most
comprehensive.
extensive I've ever seen.
I mean, it's really comprehensive. I mean, I played a game with my 1,500 rated football team. I played a fella that had like every position. He had Jude Bellingham, he had Didier Drogba, he had Thierry Henry, he had David Beckham. Dida was in his nets, and I was thinking, what is this?
He's playing
What
PS4.
what do you need to do to attain that, and how
Spend money.
much? Yeah, it's cash.
Spend money. It's egregious, and I'm sure there's people out there who spend a hell of a lot of money on this on players, only for June to roll around next year and the 2025 patch to be rolled out and all of it to be gone. Start again, please. Thanks for the $2,000.
That's it.
One
Well,
th-
no,
one
actually,
thing I did.
they do roll over. So because I was playing this in the sort of tail end of 23, and my dream team, I suppose we'll call it, did roll over, and you just
Okay.
continue on like your rankings and all just continue on. It's a patch essentially, so there's not much to change in the game that way.
Yeah, but I
One
don't
thing I
think.
just want to say is
Yeah.
Konami, who we touched on earlier. We talked about Kojima and stuff, and we know that they stopped. They decided to leave what the world's largest media, um, money generating area in the world, right? The gaming industry, $billions worth, right? So, let's not do that. Let's use Japanese pachinko machines instead, because that's a much smaller market. They'll make less money. And COVID-19 hit, and that crashed the pachinko machine market.
Oh, right now because our kids
Hundreds of them
closed.
closing. they're all packed in tiny machines. Everyone's crowded in, loads of machines. So that's screwed Konami's entire ridiculous decision to do.
Output.
Who,
And who
who
do
am
they
I to
come?
call them ridiculous? Now they make terrible games, but
Who do they come crawling back to? Gamers. That would explain why over the COVID years you had like Castlevania art collection, you had the Contra collection, you had the Konami Arcade Classics collection, and you had a whole heap of others. Like that would explain it exactly. That is, you had the TMNT collection pretty recently as well. Yeah, but no,
we got Metal Gear coming.
it absolutely
Exactly, yes.
absolutely breaks my heart to give a PES game a negative review, but this one is awful.
So,
Awful. I will
Can
never play
we
again.
naturally then can we close Konami Complaints Corner and talk about how me and Cardinal have bagged 3 points?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do that.
So as I said there, the final score in those two games, the aggregate score was 7-3, which means you two get 3 points, 3 points each. Me and Sherry get 0 points each, and I have some thinking to do about future team ups with Sherry and the current ones as well. So that means that the updated league table for season 2 is looking like this at the halfway point. At the official halfway point, is Tomahawk is first with 23 points. Cardinal is back up to second with 20 points. I am third with 19 points. Sherry is dead last on 8 points. And it is all to play for. It is.
I'm quite pleased with that. Like
mm,
the 3 points with Cardinal is okay. I'm very much focused on this 4-point gap that I have on Luvva here now.
I mean,
Like Cardinal, you're a very formidable player. We've well established this, the reigning champion. But for the most part of even for season 1, me and Luvva were neck and neck. So like to start
Yeah.
to see a bit of internal storytelling go on. A 4-point gap is quite nice.
I'm just waiting on the 3 horror games in a row to just whip me back
Oh
down that
no,
leaderboard.
we did a schedule this time. We know what
We did.
well, we sort of know what we're doing.
yes.
Look, I know it's October. I know what's coming.
Spooky month is happening.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
Tits.
Halloween, Cardinal. But yeah, it basically means that I've work to do. But I will put in the graft and I will close that gap. I will leapfrog Tomahawk and I will take home the season 2 cup. And that's the way it's going to play out here. You heard it here first. If you don't believe me, tune in the rest of the season. See what happens. Cardinal's got his cup again.
He's not
All
letting
we're
it
going to
go
say
anyway.
is Cardinal has spent all the quality time you can with that cup because shortly it will be leaving your address. It'll be coming straight to mine, where it should have been at the end of the first season. This
Good
is
lord.
just the universe balancing itself out. That's all it is. That's all it is. So I have no doubt that the first half of the season has been. It's had a fair
Close.
few plot twists and it's been really close. And I see nothing. Like that was the first challenge where it hasn't been close, really.
That's
Um,
it.
Yeah.
Trials
been
last
close all
week
season.
was a bit of a disaster, but this one wasn't close at all. You two well and truly beat us. Point no fingers, and Sherry's fault mostly, to be honest. Like the
Tune in
7
next week for
goals.
his grudge ship cash in.
Like the 7 goals.
You did say at the
6.
start you are gonna call out on any grievances, big
Mm.
and small. So I would
I've
put money on it at this point.
I have a couple of grievances. Don't you worry, man. Don't you worry.
You can't grudge ship Konami. Remember this though, you silly Billy.
Watch me, actually.
I think you'll
Watch me.
find.
Can we watch this? They're taking notes on how to make their business practices better. Put money into eFootball.
Can I just say before we move on to the next section, did we all delete the game?
Yes.
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 I deleted the game when I was still in our party chat. It was
Same.
gone. See you later.
Things you love to see.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of things we love to see, let's get to the wrap-up section. That is it, gentlemen. We have reached the midpoint of season 2, which means that it's all to play for. It's close. Even Sherry could mount a heroic comeback and potentially could even win this whole thing. It's unlikely, but
Equal opportunities and all that.
don't rule it out.
If he keeps making crosses from the right wing onto Giroud's head, it works out for him.
Anything can happen. As long as the next challenge is eFootball 2024, who can score the most headers with Olivier Giroud? He's in with a shot. But
Sadly, that's not the game.
That is not the challenge for next week. So the challenge for next week is a free-for-all in Destruction All-Stars. The short-lived PlayStation 5 exclusive that lasted a week, apparently.
We're bringing it back.
We're going to bring it back.
Slowly but surely.
When the user base hits 1,000 players this time next week, Sony will send us a check. I have no doubt in my mind this is our chance.
Wait, is it on 996 at the minute then? We're just going to bump it up to 1,000.
I think come deadline day when we have to play this game, the player base online will be about 4.
Don't fact check that again, please. Anyone who listens to this.
Please don't. But so the next challenge is Destruction All-Stars, and we're going to do a free-for-all. And the points will be however Destruction All-Stars does points. We'll play it and find out. We don't do research in this podcast, and we ain't going to start now. So tune in next week if you want to see some Destruction All-Stars. And that leaves us with just one thing to do then, and that is
what's that?
Often imitated, never equaled social media roundup that I am becoming super proficient in. So this week I've actually done what I have yet to do yet, which is make notes. So let's hope that I do not forget anything, and if it's written down, it's being said. So the first thing to do, if you like what you hear and you want to support us, the first thing and the easiest thing to do is hit the subscribe, the like, the follow button, depending on what platform you're listening to us on. If you're listening on Spotify, keep in mind that every episode has a Q&A and every episode has a poll. The Q&As are usually something fun. Tell us your opinion, and the polls are usually something to make the podcast that little bit better. So if you want to have a voice, you want us to hear it, that is the easiest way of doing it. If you're listening on Spotify, answer the Q&A and give an answer to the polls. If you're not listening on Spotify, so you can't do those things, the easiest thing and the best place to get in contact with us and give us your opinion on things, or even give us your scores in any of the challenges we've done in Season 1 or Season 2, is to head over to the High Scores, High Stakes Discord server. The link is in the description below. There's loads and loads of servers there, one for pretty much every episode. If you have a high score that beats one of ours, get over there, throw it into the chat, and get yourself in the leaderboard. Who knows, you might inspire someone else to try and take your score on, or you might even inspire Sherry to try to beat your score. We can't inspire Sherry to do that for the podcast, so good luck. You can also find us on Twitter or X, whatever it's being called now. We are at HScores, HStakes. There we do a lot of different stuff. We put in short videos. We put in loads of memes, loads of jokes. We put on This Day on PlayStation, where we go through the annals of PlayStation history and bring up a random game. There is a very special anniversary coming up very, very soon.
Ooh.
I won't spoil the surprise, but you can probably guess what game it is. We're also
Dino
on
Crisis.
We're also on Instagram, instagram.com/High Scores, High Stakes podcast. There we do much of the same stuff. A lot of short form videos, a lot of memes, a lot of updates of league tables and throwbacks to previous episodes. So find us there. Also on TikTok, the short form video form is being absolutely hammered on all sorts of things. So on TikTok, we are just High Scores, High Stakes. Also, if you aren't listening on Spotify, you can get the video version of this podcast on YouTube. So it's youtube.com/High Scores, High Stakes. Pretty much every episode we've done is either there or will be there very, very shortly. We also do a lot of short videos there as well, usually highlights of previous episodes and things like that, lots and lots. So do give us a wee subscribe there as well. And then finally, is twitch.tv/high scores high stakes. There we will be doing lots and lots of gameplay. You won't see the four of us on at the same time, but you'll catch one of us there, and we'll be playing random games. It could be a survival horror for me, could be a racing game, or a top-down strategy for Cardinal. It could be, I don't know, eFootball 2024 for Tomahawk there. Sherry's probably playing COD, but you'll catch one of us there at different times of the week. We don't have a schedule. We probably will never have a schedule, but it's just another place to allow you to interact and have advance with us. So it is twitch.tv/high scores high stakes. And I think that is everything.
That was the smoothest social rap you've ever done. So
I
well
know,
done,
right?
Luvva.
I mean,
Yeah,
all
well
it took
done.
was 5 minutes to sit down and make a few notes in my handy dandy notebook and then just look at it.
I know.
Who would have thought?
Quarter of a century later.
Who who would have thought that that was the solution to FA social roundups? But that leaves us with no more points of business or any more discussion points. So I suppose the only thing left to say is this has been High Scores, High Stakes. I've been Mr. Luvva. See you Monday. Love y'all. Bye.
Sayonara.
Way.
Yay, they're back. Actually, watching that back, I actually quite liked that. I thought that the goal graphic, I just
It was good editing.
It's so good.
Good editing.
So
like,
good.
I can appreciate that. That was good editing. Like a lot of superfluous sort of flourishes. Like you didn't need the goal to pop up 1-0 because it was going to pop up on the screen anyway. Things like that, but good. It looked good.
You see, now on the other side of this coin is this.
it's like it genuinely looks like Cardinal has just discovered the transition button.
I went ham.